Hello, how are you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Wales against Georgia in Cardiff this weekend. A big game for both sides. I'm going to preview it in this video. I'm going to be in Cardiff on commentary duty as well, so really looking forward to the match. 1 PM kickoff UK time, and as I mentioned, quite a significant game for both of these sides. So in this video, I'm going to get into that. I'm going to get into the team news and look ahead to the game. Remember, if you are new here, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, and also drop a comment down below. What do you make of Wales and Georgia at the moment, and how do you see this game going? All right, let's get into it. So this is a big game for both of these sides. If you look at the context of it, first of all for Wales, they've had a really poor 12 months or so, haven't won many games, haven't been able to string together victories. In fact, the last time they won back-to-back games was against Fiji and Australia at the end of last autumn. So they're searching for consistency and looking to build upon their victory against Argentina. And then for Georgia, it's always a big occasion for them coming up against Tier 1 nations. They don't get enough time to play the top sides in the world, so when they do, it's always a big occasion for them. And the last time they played a Tier 1 nation, when they played Italy, they did get the victory, but they're coming into this game on the back of a defeat against Samoa. So depends how you look at it, but it's a big game for both sides. I'm going to get into the team news. I'm going to start with Wales. I will get on to the Georgia team, but by my own admission, I just haven't seen as much of a lot of their players as I have of the Welsh players. I also watched Wales last week against Argentina. I was there in Cardiff for that one as well. So I just probably have a little bit more knowledge, a little bit more context for the Wales team. But it's a pretty strong side, I would say, that Wayne Pivac has gone for. He's made 6 changes from the victory over Argentina. A couple of those enforced. Will Rowlands and Dan Lydiate both have picked up what look like pretty serious injuries. So fingers crossed for those guys. I would say in particular Will Rowlands, he's really established himself with Adam Beard, I think, as the second row pairing for Wales. So all the best to those guys. Hopefully we see them in the Six Nations, but from some of the news articles I've read, it might be a bit touch and go. But as I say, 6 changes. So we've got Ben Carter replacing Will Rowlands. He comes into the second row. Jack Morgan replaces Dan Lydiate. He is on the blind side. And then Josh McLeod, he gets a debut at number 8. Come back to him in just a moment. So there's 3 changes in the forwards, 3 changes in the back line as well. Reece Priestland replaces Gareth Anscombe to start at fly half. Josh Adams comes into the back 3 to start on the wing in place of Rio Dyer. And then Owen Watkin comes in place of Nick Tompkins to start in the centres. So few changes, but it's still a pretty strong side. You're never quite sure when a side comes up against any side really outside of the Tier 1 nations, how much they're going to rotate. It's still a pretty strong Wales squad, I think, which speaks to the fact that Wayne Pivac does not want this to be a banana skin. He needs a victory more than anything. He will be under an awful lot of pressure. Already is under pressure, probably from the run of form. He'll be under it even more if they were to slip up against Georgia, which is possible because Georgia are a good side. They'll make things difficult for Wales. And normally, particularly the 2 games that these sides have played in Cardiff, or in Wales, I should say, one of them was in Llanelli, but the games they've played in Wales have tended to be pretty close. Wales haven't blown them away either time. They did have quite a comfortable victory in Georgia, but I don't think it will be as straightforward as many people suspect, and I think Wayne Pivac's team selection is a reflection of that. I want to get back to Josh McLeod. He's playing number 8. From what I can work out, the last time he played number 8 was for the Scarlets back in 2019. He's making his Test debut. He's twice been named in the Wales squad before, to start a match, and then picked up an injury in the week. That happened to him both in 2020 and in 2021. So I know Wayne Pivac was asked this week, would he be wrapping Josh McLeod in cotton wool to make sure he got through and to the game in time. But that's going to be interesting to see how he comes in, obviously replacing Talupe Faletau, who is the first choice number 8, absolute quality operator. But perhaps Wales could do with someone else sticking their hand up and being a bit more serious contention as a replacement for number 8. I know we haven't seen Wainwright in a little while. He did a really good job over a period of time. But I'm looking forward to seeing Josh McLeod, what he can do. And it's long overdue in terms of his debut. So that's a really good story. As I mentioned before in terms of the second row, I know Jack Morgan, many people have put his name forward as a replacement for Alan Wynne-Jones, who once again isn't part of this squad for the weekend, which is quite interesting. Are Wales finally transitioning away from one of the all-time greats of the game? To me, it would probably suggest so. He is still part of the setup. I think we will still see him get game time under Wayne Pivac, but he's not part of the matchday squad again. So Ben Carter comes in for the Dragons, the 21-year-old. Good opportunity for him. And then Jack Morgan's another one. I was off the bench against Argentina. Jack Morgan made 17 tackles. He played 53 minutes. It was the same amount of tackles that Ken Owens made, and Ken Owens played the full 80. And Ken Owens is always thought of as one of those guys who is an absolute workhorse, which he is, absolutely brilliant player. I thought that was quite interesting, of the impact Jack Morgan had off the bench. And even though they've lost Dan Lydia, I actually think it's a good opportunity for Jack Morgan, because again, he's another guy, 22 years of age. Wales actually have quite a lot of good options in that back row, but I think he is going to be another one. So I'm excited to see how he goes against a physical Georgia side as well. That breakdown is no doubt going to be a fiercely contested part of the game. And then probably the last couple of things to mention in terms of Wales. Owen Watkin comes in at inside centre. Part of the reason Wayne Pivac has explained is because Nick Tompkins won't be available next week for the Australia game. So he wants to see Watkin and North, in terms of that centre partnership, get a little bit more time. Interestingly, though, he's also going to be without Lewis Rees-Zammit for that game against Australia, but he is still playing at fullback. He made his first appearance at international level at fullback last week. Did pretty well, actually. I thought he had quite a good game. He's there again. That probably makes a little bit more sense, even though he won't be there for the Australia game. The injuries they've had, no Liam Williams. Lee Halfpenny is back in the squad for this game, but he's on the bench, so probably transitioning to a full return to play. I'd imagine we'll see him start against Australia. Another chance for Lewis Rees-Zammit at fullback. A couple of debutants on the bench. Daffyd Jenkins, the 19-year-old Exeter Chiefs player, and Dane Blacker as well, the replacement scrum half. So they're a couple to keep an eye on. As for Georgia, as I mentioned before, I'll hold my hands up and say I don't know as much about Georgia as I do about the Wales team, but I'm looking forward to seeing how they go. So important that they get more opportunities against Tier 1 nations. In my opinion, that's something that is an issue. They have to wait a long, long time to get these chances. They did the job on Italy last time that they played a Tier 1 side. They've never won away from home against a Tier 1 nation, so it is a tall order. I think it's 31 games they've played, and they've lost all of them away from home. But it's nice. I think it's a banana skin for Wales. I do expect Wales to get the job done, but Georgia won't be easy. This will be the game over this autumn period that they would have been targeting the most. We saw it, I think, with Argentina at Twickenham, where they really came in and did a job on England and then didn't match those levels the following week. I think Georgia will be aiming to peak for this game. In terms of team news, really looking forward to seeing David Nini-Yashvili at fullback. Arguably could have been nominated for Breakthrough Player of the Year in the World Rugby Awards. I think the reason he wasn't is because we did see him play international rugby last year, rather than this being his absolute breakout year. But he's made more meters and completed more offloads than any other player in the top 14 this season. 5 tries already for Georgia in 15 appearances, so really looking to see how he goes. And there's a mixture of probably inexperience and experience. A lot of guys that do play in France, whether it be in the top 14 or the Pro D2, and then plenty that still play in Georgia as well. So I'm excited to see what they bring. I think it's not going to be easy for Wales. I expect them to get the job done, but it's a huge game for both sides. Wales need the victory. They cannot slip up against Georgia, not because Georgia aren't good enough to beat them, but because of the poor run of form that Wales have been on. They have to continue the momentum from the victory over Argentina, in my opinion. I think if they lose this game, there are serious question marks over Wayne Pivac. And as for Georgia, as I've already said, it's a big opportunity for them. I'd love to see them put a marker down and get more opportunities against Tier 1 nations. So looking forward to the game, looking forward to calling the action on TalkSport 2. 1 o'clock kickoff tomorrow in the UK. It'll be myself and James Hook on commentary, and I'm looking forward to it. Remember, if you're new here, do subscribe to the channel, do like the video, and most importantly, drop a comment down below. What do you expect from both of these sides in this match, Wales against Georgia, in the Autumn Nations Series? All right, I'll see you in the next one.